and welcome back to the video lectures on inventory models. This is the I think eighth video on unit 4, and we continue our discussion on EOQ model with plant shortages. In the previous video we saw how inventory level varies with time. Let us again briefly review how we have come up with this diagram. So Q is the batch size, or the quantity that company orders every time it places an order. Then capital S is the inventory level just after a batch of Q units arrives in the company. Then we know that in this graph, each vertical line, so this vertical line, each vertical line represents replenishment, and the time interval between any two subsequent replenishments is known as cycle. So this is the first cycle of replenishment. Similarly, this is the second cycle of replenishment, and so on. We focus on a particular cycle. So let's say that this is the first cycle of replenishment. Sorry. In the first cycle, we divided this first cycle into two portions. First portion is this green portion. The time interval of green portion is from 0 to S divided by D, and the second portion was purple portion, and the time interval is from S by D to Q by D. From 0 to S by D, we saw that the inventory gradually depletes over the time, and the rate at which the inventory depletes is simply the demand rate D. And at the time equals to S by D, this inventory depletes completely, and at S by D there are 0 units left in the inventory, or there are no items left in the inventory. And beyond this S by D, the shortage of that item begins, which continues up to time Q by D, where the inventory is replenished and the back order, so this is the shortage, which is Q minus S. Okay, Q minus S is the number of short units. Once the replenishment takes place here, the back orders are first completed, and then again the inventory starts depleting. So we want to focus particularly on these two portions, green portion and purple portion. During the green portion of the cycle is that from 0 to S by D, inventory exists, and that's why we know that during green portion during green portion a holding cost H is incurred to the company, and during the purple portion, as there is a shortage cost incurs on the company, which we are going to represent by small p. And this is what we have seen so far. Using these notations and these concepts, we are going to develop a mathematical model in this video for EOQ model with plant shortages. So for this mathematical model, we are going to require some additional notations, such as small p represents the shortage cost per unit short per unit time. Then capital S is the inventory level just after a batch of Q units is added to the inventory, and hence Q minus S becomes the number of units short before a batch of Q units is added. We know that total cost is simply the sum of these three components, and in this model we have this component of shortage cost because we allow shortages to occur. In the previous model, this component was not there as we did not allow shortage cost. Then we have ordering cost and holding cost. So what strategy we are going to adopt to develop the mathematical model? First, we are going to calculate the total cost per cycle, which will be simply the sum of holding cost per cycle, ordering cost per cycle, and shortage cost per cycle. Then we will calculate total cost per unit time by dividing total cost per cycle by the duration per cycle. Okay, so we are going to divide this by Q by D, which is simply the time required for each cycle to complete. And finally, we are going to take partial derivatives to obtain minima because we want to find out for what values of Q and S we get the total minimum cost, or we get the minimum value of the total cost. Okay, so because we have two variables this time, we will have to take partial derivatives. I would like to remind you again that objective of mathematical model is to come up with an inventory policy which will finally guide us, or which will finally guide company to decide how much to order and how frequently the orders must be placed. So this is the picture from one of the earlier slides, just for the reference. So yes, okay. So we'll continue with the same equation. Total cost per cycle is equals to holding cost per cycle plus ordering cost per cycle and shortage cost per cycle. So let us go through them one by one. First is the holding cost per cycle. Holding cost per cycle is the multiplication of those two terms, hs by 2 and s by t, and let's see how we have got those two terms. So first thing is this is the complete cycle, and holding cost is incurred only for the green portion of the cycle. So we know that H is the holding cost per unit held per unit time. So that means we should multiply H by the number of units held in the inventory, and also for how much time those number of units were held in the inventory. So how many number of units were held in the inventory in a particular cycle? So that is simply the average. So we are going to calculate the average of number of units held from 0 to s by d, and that average is simply minimum plus maximum divided by 2. So the minimum was 0 at s by d and maximum was s at 0. So 0 plus s divided by 2. This is the average inventory or average number of units held during the green portion of the cycle. Similarly, the total amount of time for which these number of units were held in the inventory is from 0 to s by d. Hence, this is the time for which those number of units were held in the inventory, and h into 0 plus is s by 2 into s by d, and that's how we got that product. Okay, so that's the holding cost per cycle. So let me clean up this a little bit. Okay. Then next is ordering cost per cycle, which is simply the fixed component plus the variable component, which is represented by that product, nothing new. Shortage cost per cycle. Now to find out the shortage cost per cycle, we will again focus on the purple portion of the cycle, and this is simply the product of those two quantities, p q minus s by 2 q minus s by d, and just as we saw in holding cost per cycle, we have p as the shortage cost per unit short per unit time. So we must multiply p by how many units were short for how much interval of time. So how many units were short? So those are simply the average number of units during the interval from S by D to Q by D. And to find out the average number of units short, we will simply find out the average of maximum and minimum. So maximum number of units short were Q minus S by 2 and minimum was 0, and hence 0 plus Q minus S divided by 2. So those are the number of units short multiplied by how many number of units were actually held, how many these number of units were held for how much amount of time, which is simply the interval from Q to Q by D to S by D, and hence this time interval is simply Q by D minus S by D. Okay, so that's how we got this product. Finally, if you multiply, we get P into Q minus S whole square divided by 2D. So this is the entire expression for total cost per cycle, and there are 4 terms here, and we can see that there are 2 variables involved. First is Q and second is capital S. To find out the total cost per unit time, we multiply total cost per cycle by this Q by D, which is simply the time required for each cycle. Then after finding out total cost per unit time, we take the partial derivatives with respect to Q and S. So let us take partial derivative of the total cost per unit time, which is represented by capital T, with respect to S. So if you compute this partial derivative, you should get that expression. You can verify it. You can just pause the video and verify this. We equate this partial derivative with 0, and this is the second partial derivative of T with respect to Q, and that is the expression for partial derivative. Equate it to 0. All these two equations simultaneously, so those are the same partial derivatives from the previous slide. If you solve these two expressions simultaneously, then you will get the values of S, Q and T for total minimum cost T. So this is the inventory policy of EOQ model with planned shortages, and what this inventory policy entails is that we should order, or the company should order these many number of units every time it places an order, and this should be the frequency of order. In the next video, we will see the intuition of these 3 formulas, and we will also discuss an example. So see you in the next video.